Welcome back. All right, a little bit of a change of pace here for all you fine people on the internet. I'm wearing a Winnipeg Ice jersey because the Winnipeg Ice could be on the move. And I do have a reason to weigh in on this because the rumor is they could be headed to Chilliwack, which is, of course, where I grew up. And I have some opinions on the WHL and Chilliwack. So let's go through this. First off, I want to talk about Winnipeg. January 2019, January 2019th of 2019. Easy for me to say, right? Greg Fetz comes in and promises that there will be a new arena for the Kootenay Ice when they're moved to Winnipeg. So he wants them in Winnipeg, get them out of Kootenay, get them out of Cranbrook, and we're gonna have this new building. It's gonna have 4,500 seats. That's the plan. We're gonna have this new building. It's gonna be great. Okay, so this is not something restricted to the National Hockey League. Happens in other leagues as well. And the move was approved the next month. So February of 2019, the WHL says, all right. And so they moved the team to Winnipeg. Now, they haven't got the new building. There hasn't been any movement towards getting that new building, and they've had problems finding a home. Before anybody says, well, why can't they share a building with the Jets? You already have the Jets and the Moose that are sharing that building. It gets a little bit more difficult to have three different teams sharing the same ice surface. So the franchise, which had basically agreed to a condition that there was that move, but they had to break ground on a new building within 3 years. They've been fined $500,000 for not getting it done, for not getting that new building in place. So while we talk about Winnipeg and what a great hockey market it is for the Ice, they've kind of been kneecapped by this lack of a building, right? 1,600 fans per game at the University of Manitoba's Wayne Fleming Arena, the smallest facility in the Western Hockey League. So with the Western Hockey League and with minor hockey in Canada, you don't get the kind of attendance figures you're going to get in the NHL. You just don't, generally. Quebec Ramparts aside, you generally don't get those kinds of numbers. But 1,600 fans per game is way too low. That is really, really low. And so for Winnipeg, since arriving there, it really hasn't worked. And it's too bad. This is a team that went all the way to the WHL final. For the final, they were able to play at Canada Life Centre. So that's where the Jets and the Moose play. But again, that's not going to work for the regular season. So there's been a lot of talk of whether or not they're going to move. Now, this talk goes back to February. Back in February, there was talk of them moving to Chilliwack. And the Chilliwack Chiefs owners said, no, we have rights to this building. The Chilliwack Chiefs are Chilliwack's team. And we're not moving in. We're not going anywhere. So that kind of threw a lot of cold water on those discussions. Now, Chilliwack would be seen as a possible viable alternative because they have a really nice coliseum of 5,000. I think it's 5,008 seats, but it's a little over 5,000. And so it's a little bit of an improvement on 1,600 fans per game, right? So for Chilliwack, it's been a matter of no. And as somebody from Chilliwack, my initial reaction to this is, I don't do it. And that's my initial reaction. Now, Rick Dhaliwal has caused this to really come up again because he's reporting that the Aquilini family could step in, take the team, and move it to Chilliwack. And in order to make this work, you buy the building. So if the arena is a problem, you just buy the arena. Now, Chilliwack has been in the WHL before. They had the Chilliwack Bruins. I have home and away Chilliwack Bruins jerseys. I also have home and away Chilliwack Chiefs jerseys because Chilliwack, of course I do. But at any rate, the Chilliwack Bruins didn't last that long in Chilliwack. They ended up moving to Victoria, became the Royals. I have a couple of Victoria Royals jerseys too because they're fantastic. But the reality is that the WHL was kind of a missed opportunity. They came in, there was a lot of discussion when the Chilliwack Bruins came in about how good they were going to be. There were big names attached to it, and man, what can we do with the Chilliwack market? But it didn't work out that well. Now, the Chiefs this year averaged 2,258 fans per game, so a little bit less than half the arena. But BCHL, that's not bad. So BCHL, which is a step below WHL usually, although the BCHL is looking at changing that. And I think that's the interesting part here too, is that the BCHL is looking to, become their own entity and really have an ability to bring in some big names. So that could increase interest. If fans know there's more top prospects that are going to be playing locally, I think more people are going to come out. Now, the final year that the Bruins were in Chilliwack, they averaged 3,372 fans per game. That's not bad, but it was way down in 2010-2011 from the 07-08 peak where they had 4,533 fans per game. They just weren't very good. This was just the reality. They had a winning record once, and it was only a plus 500 record because overtime and shootout losses don't count as regular losses. Otherwise, they weren't a winning team that year either, and they never had a single season where they scored more goals than they allowed in Chilliwack. Once they moved to Victoria, things got better, right? So, definitely when it comes to the WHL experience, it didn't work out that well for Chilliwack the first time around. That's where things might be different this time. You're getting a Winnipeg team coming off of being in the final. If you keep the same leadership for the team in terms of general manager, coach, and everything else, you're probably getting a much more competitive team than Chilliwack Bruins team that was an expansion team, right? So when the Chilliwack Bruins came in, that was an expansion team, and then the WHL decided we'd really like to go to Victoria, which makes sense. Victoria's a bigger location than Chilliwack by a lot. But if the Aquilinis buy the team, the Winnipeg Ice, and they buy the arena to move them into Chilliwack, I don't know if this is going to work. There's a part of me that says, and Don Taylor, when talking with Dollywell about this, said that he feels that there is a glut of teams in the Fraser Valley. Like there's saturation point. So here in Abbotsford, we've got the Abbotsford Canucks. We also have the Abbotsford Pilots, which is Junior B. I haven't been to an Abbotsford Pilots game. It's one of those things where we drive by the arena and I'm like, I should check out a Pilots game, and then it just doesn't happen. Apologies to the Pilots for that. There's two different teams in Langley. There's a team in Surrey. There are a lot of teams in the Fraser Valley. So you're in a situation where you're trying to draw more and more money where I don't know if it's there, right? So we talk a lot at the NHL level about, hey, are you going to have enough fans to support in this market or in that market? Can you add another one? The classic, if the NHL moved to Hamilton, what would that do to Buffalo? Well, if you move the team from Winnipeg into Chilliwack and you need more fans for that WHL franchise to make it work, then what might work for the BCHL? I don't know if they get there. So I'm kind of left torn on the topic because for me, I grew up as a Chiefs fan. Grew up is the wrong term. 1990, I was firmly implanted in high school at this point, almost graduated. And from 1990 till 2006, it was the Chiefs, right? Chiefs in BCHL. And from 2011 till 2023, what's interesting is 2006 till 2011, it was the Chilliwack Bruins. And as soon as the Bruins failed and ended up didn't fail. They ended up moving to Victoria. It felt like they failed. Then the Chiefs were back in town. And it just felt like it worked. It just felt like, okay, that's how it's supposed to be. And I don't know how else to put it, right? But when you're dealing with fan recognition and all of that, I would hope that the Ice would succeed. I don't think there's a reason to change the name of the team or the logo if they did move to Chilliwack, but I don't know if it's going to work. So there's other rumored locations the team could go to. But the Winnipeg Ice in Winnipeg, it seems like is probably done, which is too bad because, this jersey's fantastic. But that jersey goes with them. And so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Again, if the Aquilinis decide, hey, we're going to take this over and move this team in, odds are it's probably going to happen. But I would feel bad for the Chiefs on some level because, again, it feels like the BCHL is ready to really grow and really expand its profile with the change in how they want to be perceived. They don't want to be seen as part of the CHL's tiered system. They want to go out on their own. I talked about that earlier this year, and it can work. I genuinely think it can work, but I do wonder, would the enthusiasm be there for a new team coming in? Because the Chiefs have that huge name recognition in Chilliwack. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts in the comment section below. I know there's going to be a lot of people asking, where's Chilliwack? But again, for me, it's just down the road. It's one of those items I thought, well, I'll do a video on it because I kind of feel like I understand that when the Bruins left, it kind of felt like it was time. And when they came in with all the pomp and circumstance and all the excitement and a new arena and all this, and it felt like, hey, this is going to be awesome, but it just didn't work. So hopefully this time around it does. Like I said, it won't be an expansion team. It would be a really established team coming in with some star players. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, again, I don't just talk about the National Hockey League. And in this case, this is something that it's kind of something that I feel like I've experienced. I did go to games for the Chiefs. I did go to games for the Bruins. And it's good hockey. It is. BCHL's good hockey in general. And I always tell people this. If you're upset about NHL ticket prices and being priced out and you can't take your family, find minor league hockey in your area. You're still going to get good hockey, and you're going to save yourself a lot of money in doing so. So thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.